I caught your attention, didn't it? Yeah, I got a real beef with the National Hockey League right now. The violent aspect of the game has started to get out of control again, and it really bothers me. We saw a brutal hit on Vancouver's 40-goal scorer Brock Boeser a week ago by a Toronto player. We saw another violent incident this past weekend in a Toronto Maple Leaf game against Edmonton on Saturday. Darnell Nurse, their star defenseman, got nailed in the face by a shoulder by a Toronto player. He suffered a concussion and eye damage. The player was hit with a 5-game suspension and I think a $45,000 fine. I just have a huge problem as to why this stuff just continues on the ice. It's a fast game. I understand it's a physical game. You got players are much more physical, much more bigger, and the point of contact is much more violent. And yet, this head-hunting stuff continues to go on almost game by game. Open ice hits or cross-checking guys from behind and putting them face first into the boards, which is a match penalty, and the league just does not control it. So I don't know what the Players Association should do, but they represent every player. They represent the superstars like Connor Bedard in Chicago. They represent the 23rd guy on the roster that might be a goon or a thug, but you're there to protect all your players. And I don't think the league is doing enough to stop all this damn headhunting that's going on in the NFL. And you can't tell me it's by accident, because when you're clobbering a guy at center ice with an elbow or shoulder into his face, that's intent to injure. League's got to clear that up. And some of the fights are still really, really bad. And I don't understand how the league can just allow this to go on. If you're a repeat offender on hits, your suspensions need to get steeper and steeper and more severe. One of the theories is you knock Brock Boeser, the Vancouver 40-goal scorer, out for maybe 4 weeks. Maybe that Toronto guy who hit him should be out for 4 weeks. That's his penalty. That would stop a lot of the crap. Players need to respect the other player's ability to earn a living rather than try to take him out of the game. To me, it's a terrible situation. Ducks are more competitive, though they're not scoring goals. The Ducks have just taken the top goal scorer from the San Diego Gulls. And part of me would say, oh, crap, we're losing another good young player here in San Diego in the American Hockey League. But part of me says Sam Colangelo from Western Michigan, a rookie, has earned this promotion. He scored 9 goals at the start of the Gulls season. That's pretty impressive. So he's gone to Anaheim. And speaking of the Gulls, they're starting to play some really wild hockey. They've been in holes. They gave up 5 goals on Saturday night or Friday night in the first period to Bakersfield. 5 goals. They came back, got back in the game, tied it at 7-7, went to overtime, but they lost 8-7. But their guys are starting to score goals. Their young guys are starting to play better. And some of the few NHL veteran guys who come in as stabilizers, like Ryan Carpenter had a hat trick, they're playing better too. They drew 12,000 for a home game. Last week, they drew 11,000 plus on Friday night on military night. So if you're a hockey fan and you're watching us sample Gulls hockey, it's pretty cool. Lots of beer, pretty good action on the ice. And yeah, there's a lot of babes in the stands too. So if you're a hockey fan, John's been down there. He can vouch. He'll sign the memo with that.
I'll vouch for it.
Vouch for it. Those are all things in the NHL. You watch hockey. What do you think about the cheap shot hits?
I was just thinking about it. You're talking about guys getting slammed into the wall and up against the boards. Now, this is just kind of a weird thought, but has the NHL ever considered putting padding on the boards, and would it even help?
No, because you had a plexiglass so the fans could see the game.
No, but on the bottom part, where it's a white wall, or would that even matter?
No, I don't think it would matter because it'd still be force of heavy hits. We went through a period where guys backed off and started to respect guys, but I swear to you, in the last 2 years, that preponderance of hits into the boards and guys getting clipped in open ice, knee-on-knee checks, elbows to the head, shoulders to the jaw checks, open ice. I think it's ghastly.
Do you think it's conspiracy theory here, but do you think that the owners are kind of just letting it go because that creates more of the excitement and the hype and the fans love seeing all the violence?
I would hope not, but yeah, I think people get amped when they see guys pushing and shoving in front of the net, behind the net if a fight breaks out. I just know the violence and the concussion issue and the dangers of CTE when you have fights. I mean, there's a number of NHL, quote, tough guys who died, who committed suicide because of concussions they suffered being the policeman on the ice for their team back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And we now know a lot more in sports medicine about CTE, concussions, etc. league cannot allow this to go unsanctioned.
You know, I has ever I'm surprised, when people are on ice skates, that's a blade,
Yep.
on the ice. Has anyone ever had like a finger severed
Oh,
or
yes, it happened. Guys have had veins cut because their gloves come up here, but if your arm's at a different location, you can get a skate cut across a vein, and
and
you
then you
can.
could bleed out?
Yes, and you can. I was in the minor leagues with guys who fell behind the net, and a guy fell over them, pure accident, severed an artery around the neck. They saved the guy's life. That's real dangerous stuff. I'm talking about not accidents. I'm just talking about the violence. The American Hockey League and junior hockey has now sanctioned throat guards. Everybody wears a throat guard now in the AHL, not in the NHL. That's a player's choice. Why? Because the player who died in England last winter, that former New York Islander player,
Oh yeah.
he got his esophagus slashed when a skate hit it. When he went down, a guy fell over him.
Yeah.
So the violent aspect is one. The safety aspect, they've done everything else in terms of the eye shields. The helmets are much better now than they were before.
Do they enforce this differently in the minor leagues or in college hockey?
College hockey, everybody wears throat guards. Everybody wears cage face masks.
But as far as like, the hits, the brutal hits, do
Oh,
they
yeah.
enforce it and suspend guys more quickly in the minors?
Yeah, and there's no fighting allowed in college hockey.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stick work in college hockey, but the guys are much more protected because they're wearing full cages. But American Hockey League, guys wear shields. Everybody is now wearing throat guard protectors, so you don't get hit in the throat with a puck or a stick. Or unfortunately, guys fall and guys get clipped on their neck.
Yeah.
But the violent aspect, the open ice hitting, and just, I'm sorry, the intent to injure to me is despicable.
You ever play broom ball?
No,
No, you ever heard of that?
no.
No, it's like I remember playing in college. It sounds like broom ball. We would get on the ice and with our tennis shoes
Mhm.
and a broom and literally play hockey on the ice. And you get guys giving floor checks and everything there. It was like, intramural hockey. It was hilarious and fun. But that's what it just feels like. It's just like a hit shot. It's like a WWE event.
You guys used to drink a lot at UCSD, didn't you?
Yeah, we
Yes.
did.
Okay, hockey hotline is open. You got a reaction to violence on the ice? Is it out of control? Is the league doing a good job or not doing a job at all in terms of controlling? And does my right winger have a right to earn a living when your defenseman tries to cheap shot him?